Welcome to Fleek's podcast. Today we're diving deep into artificial intelligence within the French administration. Our central question is this: why might an AI, like Albert, designed to help public servants, sometimes get things wrong?
We'll be looking at how AI is increasingly used in public services, things like answering citizen questions, spotting illegal construction with Agel, even detecting water leaks, or assisting HR and education with Cassandra.
Right. The goal is to really understand the limitations and the challenges when we rely on AI in these pretty critical areas.
And just a quick aside, if you enjoy this, please do check out our YouTube channel, Philippe's Podcast. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so every subscription helps.
Okay, so this AI, it's cropping up more and more in public services, isn't it? You mentioned Albert in the France services centers.
Yeah, and Agel for undeclared buildings, Cassandra helping out with HR in the national education system.
So with this spread, the big question hangs there.
Oh.
Why do these AIs sometimes, fail to give the right information?
That's exactly the gray area we want to explore today, and we're using the sources you listeners shared with us.
Right. We've got articles from Agel, Polytechnique Insights, info.gouv.fr, Banque des Territoires,
a report from Cash Investigation, and also a study on algorithms and AI impact in the public sector. It's a really relevant set of documents for this dive.
Definitely. So our mission today is basically to unpack the reasons behind potential inaccuracies or, the limits of AI like Albert, but also looking broader at those other examples we just mentioned.
Okay, so starting with Albert. The Agel article really highlights its role in assisting France services advisors, right? Helping them find regulatory info, formulate answers. But Albert's reliability is, it's fundamentally tied to the quality and the sheer scope of the data it learns from.
Which makes sense.
So if the regulations are complex, maybe poorly digitized, or if updates are slow, Albert might end up giving outdated or incomplete information.
That's a huge point, isn't it? If the AI eats data, and that data have gaps, errors, or isn't current, it stands to reason the answers will be affected.
Exactly.
And in the public sector, think about the complexity and volume of legal texts. Keeping a database perfectly accurate and unambiguous, that sounds like a monumental task.
It absolutely is. And that brings up another crucial point, which Polytechnique Insights touches on: transparency and potential bias.
Bias, right?
Yeah, even with good data, the algorithms processing it can introduce distortions, sometimes deliberately, sometimes not.
How so?
Well, if the AI is trained on data sets that reflect existing inequalities, for instance, the system might just, unintentionally replicate or even amplify those imbalances in its outputs.
That's a major pitfall, especially in sensitive areas like social benefits or access to education.
Definitely. And the Banque des Territoires article, which mentions citizen concerns about AI in public services, really underscores this fear about opaque algorithms and automated decisions that might feel unfair.
People worry about the black box effect.
Precisely. And that report you shared on algorithms and AI in public services really hammers this home. It talks about situations where algorithms led to suspension of rights without notice.
Wow.
Or errors flagged as fraud, leaving citizens unable to challenge decisions because there was no clear explanation of how the system worked.
The Cash Investigation report also showed, quite vividly I thought, the limits of AI when it tries to replace human tasks needing judgment and subtlety.
Yeah.
AI can be fast, maybe cheaper for certain things, but it often struggles with context, doesn't it? Adapting to unexpected situations.
Yeah.
That's very human.
Absolutely. Think about Cassandra in the education system. Okay, it can probably answer standard teacher questions about transfers or assignments based on regulations, but it might stumble on unique cases not explicitly covered in the texts or cases needing a human interpretation of the rules.
And that's where the human role remains essential, isn't it? Which actually the info.gouv.fr article about Albert also points out.
Right.
The goal isn't really to replace public agents with machines, but more to support them with the repetitive stuff.
Exactly.
Leaving them to do the analysis, understand the context, and make the final call.
It's a tricky balance to strike. On one hand, AI offers huge potential for efficiency and service quality.
Sure.
But on the other, it's absolutely vital to recognize its limits, ensure transparency, manage bias risks, and crucially, maintain proper human oversight to prevent errors that could have serious consequences for people.
So when we circle back to why an AI like Albert might not always give the right answer, it's complicated.
It really is.
It's tied to the training data quality, the algorithm design, potential biases, that lack of contextual understanding and interpretation.
And the absolute need for human supervision. It's a constantly evolving field. We need to keep evaluating and guiding how AI is developed and used in our public services.
Yeah.
What this deep dive really shows, I think, is that the promise of AI efficiency in the public sector bumps up against the sheer complexity of implementing it. It hits issues of data quality, the need for constant human vigilance, and fundamentally the very nature of AI understanding, which is just different from human understanding.
So that initial question, why can't AI like Albert always get it right? Our look at the sources suggests it's multifaceted. It involves data, system design, human factors, and just the inherent limits of current AI tech.
Exactly. And considering how AI is increasingly woven into public services, maybe a final thought to leave listeners with is this. What responsibility do we as citizens and the government have to make sure these systems are accurate, ethical, and genuinely serve the public good?